You love ice creams too much, so no matter what, how late it is, you are going to go and get an ice cream. So I'm George Zougas. I'm associate professor in the Department of Actuarial Mathematics and Statistics at Heriot-Watt University. So I grew up in Athens, in Greece. Most of my family, they come from an island called Chios. I used to spend most of my vacation there on a constant basis. Then I went to study mathematics in Athens. After that, I did my master's and my PhD in statistics and actuarial science. And then after that, I moved to Ireland, to Cork. So this was my first job as a lecturer there. Then for 5 years in London, I was assistant professor at LSE. And then after that, since September 2021, I moved to Heriot-Watt. And I'm really excited to be here. So first of all, I have to say Star Wars and Master Yoda. May the Force be with you. And my serious answer is it was like probably my grandfather. I guess he was an amazing guy because in the Second World War, he was in the resistance. His family almost lost everything, but he told me about the value of education. So he said that when you go like difficult circumstances in your life, the only thing that cannot be taken away from you is education. So also I was in love with mathematics and statistics. So I think these was the two things that made me become an academic. So it's my character, I believe. So I like challenges a lot. So it was challenging to me to try to... so maths, first of all, is a language, right? So it's like a foreign language. It's challenging, to try to understand this language and what it represents. And maths is not only about numbers, so it's also a philosophy behind that. So for example, in ancient Greece, they had the idea that everything actually has to do with geometry and there is harmony in the universe around us. So this is fascinating. But I wanted to be convinced about that, right? So about the beauty of math. So I wanted to investigate things on my own. Every time that I came across a hard problem, it didn't matter to me if I did well at school. I wanted to solve it. I didn't care about getting a good grade or being the best, but I wanted to solve it, and this is why I believe that I became very good at it. I think it's curiosity that needs to drive you, and also to do something which you love. Because when you really love something, you will go after it. Say, for example, that you love ice creams too much, so no matter what, how late it is, you are going to go and get an ice cream. So it's the same thing in our field. We need to be curious about things. So Einstein used to say that we wouldn't call it research if we knew what we were talking about. So we constantly, it's like when you have a forensic scientist, for instance, you need to put together all the clues and get to a conclusion. So curiosity is number one. Thinking outside the box is important. So you need to be able to learn certain things, by reading a book, but at the same time, you need to be able to question, what you learn and try to create new knowledge. This should motivate everyone. It's like a beautiful field. So most of my research is focused on addressing, the impact of climate change in finance and insurance. So what I do in my research is construct models and, create new algorithms to try to predict certain things. So regarding climate change, what is important is that we have these instruments called green bonds, which are used at a global scale by every government and also companies to try to finance actually some projects which are good for the environment. What I try to do is investigate the dynamics of this market. Also at the same time, another project I started working on is trying to predict the prices of carbon, because by understanding how this market works and also how actually the EU market when it comes to carbon is linked to the UK market is extremely important, because only through this consideration we will be able to reach the target of net zero by 2050. Okay, so what is the cost of products that absorb carbon? Actually, we cannot make a prediction there. So obviously, in some cases, cost might go up or in other cases, it might go down. So we cannot be sure about that. But I believe no matter what happens, we all need to make some sacrifices for the common good. I mean, we only have one planet, right? So if we get to choose between, some things being more pricey or, saving the environment, I believe, saving the environment comes first. So we need to come up with new technologies and try to have two things in mind. First of all, try to reach the environmental goal, the net zero target. But at the same time, try to all of the researchers have to work together to try to provide solutions which will be viable for every economy. To be honest, I'm still waiting for the most exciting thing to happen, and if it happens, then I will wait for another exciting thing to happen, because curiosity is what should drive us, and we should always leave some room for exciting things to happen.